On the agenda tonight, we're going back to 1990. We're going to be taking a look at the Highwaymen, and they're going to be performing Loving Her Was Easier Than Anything I'll Ever Do Again. Hello, Phil here from Wings of Pegasus, and welcome to another analysis video. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. So, this performance from 1990 has been requested, and the person requesting it asked whether the vocals have been manipulated from a pitch perspective. Now, we have to consider that this was before digital pitch correction and before auto-tune, which happened in 1998 with Cher's Believe, and that's when everybody heard it really for the first time. So, we're going to be taking a look at this in detail. By the way, there's a link in the description below if you want to watch this performance the whole way through without me interrupting it, because I am going to be jumping in, but we've got the pitch monitoring software on screen as always. We'll have a little look and see what we can see.
Kris, I want to do another one of your songs to help me out on it, will you? I have seen the morning burning gold out on the mountain in the sky. Aching with the feeling and the freedom of an eagle when she flies.
I'm going to jump in already because when I heard this performance, I pretty much got to this point and just the first line, there was just a bang on A440 standard pitch, standard tuning, which is what pitch correction is calibrated to. And I thought, this isn't Willie Nelson's voice. There's something about it that just, well, we know what it is that is different about it, but you can just tell when it's not somebody's natural voice and the way that they naturally hit pitches. So when we go back here, I'm just going to take it from here.
I have seen the morning burning gold.
Like here, even just the G sharp 3, I have seen the morning. Here, he just absolutely bang on that line and then comes down to the E3 and is spot on that line. So already he's been calibrated, so he's been pitch corrected. And considering that the technology did not exist here, in order to even use auto-tune live, it wasn't done at this time. 1990 we're talking. So this is a performance that has gone out, and it might have actually been released previously as either, a DVD or a Blu-ray and have the original vocal on it. But what we get to see now in 2024 isn't what it was, it's now what it is according to the current day music industry where pitch correction is applied as standard. But we'll let it play through and listen on.
Aching with the feeling and the freedom of an eagle when she flies.
It's that kind of thing. And the freedom, na 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 na. Yeah, it's so spot on the E3. And the thing is, we've done analysis videos, of course, on Willie Nelson, his voice, and how free flowing it normally is. So this is the kind of thing that no genre is safe. That's the other thing to mention, because I know that there are a lot of people who really liked, country music back in the day, and it's changed over the years, and they might not be fans of the more modern sound, or should I say the pitch corrected sound, the almost auto-tune sound of country music nowadays, especially the way that the production's changed as well. But they will say that, back in the day, guys like Willie Nelson, at least they were just singing, they were just doing it, how they did it, and they didn't have to rely on technology to hit notes. So now somebody who's a fan of a country artist nowadays who might use either auto-tune live or pitch correction in the studio, they'll say, Willie Nelson does use pitch correction. And of course the fans will say, what? No, they're performing before it even existed. And then they will bring up this video and they will be right that Willie Nelson and Kris here are using pitch correction. And obviously, it's not the artist's choice. They weren't using it when they were singing this, and the audience wouldn't have heard it because it didn't exist. But it's now been edited and re-uploaded, and often what's happening is that the uploaded version of the performance, we saw this with Randy Meisner's vocal, And Freddie Mercury as well. The new uploads that are being put on YouTube are now the version, because you can't put a copy of your DVD on the internet. Whatever version they decide to upload, that's the one that you now have to refer to see a performance in 1990. But of course, this wasn't the actual performance. This is their voices that have been changed. The reason that it's pitch correction is because it's just been dragged, so we've still got the vibrato in there. It's not like auto-tune tried to snap it from one note to the next when you've got a wide vibrato, which Willie has. But when you're looking at this, it's just been, again, it's just really heavy-handed with the use, but I'm going to let it play on.
Turning all my world away, she smiled upon my soul as I lay down.
So there we've got that vibrato. So, I mean, there's a relative amount of freedom in there, but, you know, it's just really over the top. When you're listening, I mean, you can see straight away, and we've looked at Melodyne and I've shown you guys what you can do. You're just centralizing everything so that when you go to this E3, you're going to be spot on, this F sharp 3, you know, spot on. And especially in this kind of song, the expression is huge. And I know that this is Willie Nelson singing at the moment, but we will get to Kris's vocal in a second, and I'm going to compare it to the original release so you can see the difference between an effectively computer-generated vocal of Kris's, so it's like a computer version of his voice, and when compared to his natural voice back in the day.
My soul as I lay down, healing as the colors in the sunshine and the shadow.
This is the kind of phrase where it really sticks out.
Healing as the colors in the sunshine.
Healing as the colours in the sunshine. There's no variation in that. I mean, we can see it's just getting snapped straight to these lines.
And the shadows of her eyes.
And again, straight away with that E3.
Waking in the morning to the feeling of her fingers on my skin. Wiping out the traces of the people and the places that I've been.
Okay, right, so now it's Kris's turn to have his voice pitch corrected from this live performance. And when you're looking at this, of course, it's always going to be the same thing that you see. So as we work our way through, bang on the G sharp 3, and we're centralized to that. So Kris is being calibrated to this as well. And, you know, F sharp 3 here, centralized, E3 centralized, F sharp 3 centralized. And the reason that I'm saying centralized is because the notes that he's singing, like this kind of thing, you can see how this note that he's holding is relevant to this E3. It's almost like it's stuck to it. And here the A3 as well, it's almost stuck to that. And the B3 seems like it's stuck to that. So now we're going to have a quick listen to Kris's version from 1971, I believe. And he would have recorded this in the studio, so it's a controlled setting and you might do a few takes. But the thing about Kris's voice is that it just is what it is. So you just get to enjoy it. There's so much personality in it. We are just going to jump into where Kris started singing in the live performance that we were looking at from 1990 and just see if you can hear, to begin with, any difference in his voice.
Healing as the colors in the sunshine and the shadows of her eyes.
So, I mean, straight away with this phrase, again, this is the official recording and Kris's vocal. So you could argue that he should be most accurate in the studio, because things can always, you know, be a little bit sketchy live with, you know, fold back, getting the right mix of your voice and all that kind of stuff. But as we look through, you can see how his voice just wanders, because that's what his voice does. Here, we are literally between these lines. So when I was saying about his vocal seemingly being stuck to lines in the live performance, that's the calibration of the pitch correction moving it. So as we have a little look through, again here, you know, he's actually drifting way sharp of the E3 here. but it's because it has this storytelling quality to it. And I love this kind of thing, the way that it just descends from, way above the E3 to then, kind of on the E3, but then flat, and then it goes up. But again, just total freedom for his voice to have this talking quality to it. When I say that, it's really important, because when I'm talking here, if you were to look at my voice on pitch monitoring software, and you can get the app going if you want to, you'll see that my voice is going up and down and all over the place because of the expression of just talking and emphasizing particular words and putting a particular meaning behind particular words that we do automatically in its subconscious. Somebody who's great at storytelling through song, it will sound like they're talking. So you're going to start getting this kind of thing. I mean, especially in the genre, and just with Kris's voice, it is in that talking place in terms of pitch wise. He's not belting in chest voice or anything. It's all where he would be talking, so that's why you get so much of an authentic connection. So what I've done is just put the performance from 1990 on the left hand side and the original release in 1971. So this is going to be Kris's voice, so that you can see the differences between the two. Let's have a listen.
Wiping out the traces of the people and the places that I've been.
So the important thing to point out here is that this is in the studio. So, I mean, this is going to be a lot more accurate than the live vocal. At least that's what generally happens. But then as we go back, we can have a look. Because this is pitch corrected from the live performance, it means that where Kris was flat in the studio, he's now stuck on this G sharp 3, and he stays on that the whole time. Here, he actually glides sharp, quite significantly sharp, but that's not allowed to happen. Same kind of thing down here, where we've got a little bit of freedom. It's now stuck on this F sharp 3, and then as we go through, again, we've got such a variation in pitch here. That's just part of Kris's expression in his voice. That's now getting stuck to that G sharp 3. So we do have different keys of performances, by the way. So if you're looking for note comparisons, as in, say, a G sharp 3, that's why over here it's the D sharp 3, not the G sharp 3. So let's listen on now to this 1990 live performance.
Talking of tomorrow and the money, love, and time we had to spend.
I mean, that we actually got spend was actually, I think, left, so it wasn't pitch
Time
corrected.
we had to spend.
Yeah, because it wasn't exactly spend. It had a little bit of a spend, a little bit of an ascension pitch-wise, but it didn't get up to the G sharp 3, but it doesn't matter.
Loving her was easier than anything I'll ever do again.
Yeah, I mean, it's so precise. For Kris's voice, and this is it, especially when you hear two vocalists, is something that I think maybe you don't get a lot in a live performance, where you get two very distinct voices that have now both been pitch corrected. So they're both starting to look the same on the screen, even though they're wildly different as vocalists. So this is the problem, that it is really being calibrated all to the same sound, to the same pitch accuracy, no matter what the voice is. But aside from the pitch correction, I'm sure that this was a great performance and that their vocals were even more authentic than we're hearing. It's just that we don't get to hear them. And sadly, we may never get to hear the original vocals, because this is now the version that is most prevalent on YouTube. But I do just want to draw your attention to Willie Nelson and his guitar playing. He has a little solo here, and let's have a listen to this. And I think I'm going to grab the guitar. This is not going to be an instructional video, but I just want to point out a few things that Willie's doing here, because it's a great little solo. Of course, he's got nylon strings on his high E, B, and G here. So, yeah, you have to bend them a lot more to get any kind of action out of them. But we've kind of got this, we're in That kind of thing. So he's using this bar. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing, but we're going. And instead of jumping over, he kind of squashes his third finger down like that to get those, you know, adjacent strings, to get that bar in there. And then he kind of bends those strings. Obviously, nylon strings would be a lot easier to bend, but really cool sound. Yeah, same kind of thing. And again, he's kind of got that vibrato in there as well, so it's really cool. And we've kind of got this. And yeah, this is going to be from our B down to our A. Really cool melodic stuff going on. And again, I mean, here, this, you know, it's basically just arpeggiating the chord. So when you've got your A chord here, the notes from your chord that are going on, all he's doing is taking those notes and just picking out those notes from the chord. You know, it's relatively straightforward in order to keep it melodic. And I said keeping it relatively simple, but I mean, there was this kind of little pull-off rundown that he does to that open A string, and he's got this kind of approach to. So yeah, he's still kind of having this arpeggio approach to the solo. And I say that he's keeping it simple, but he's not really. There's a lot of technique in it. And that, again, applying the bends. I don't know whether you can see what I'm doing. I'll turn around a little bit, but yeah, it's not an instructional video, but this kind of working that through the arpeggio, you've just got your E chord here, E major, and kind of rolling that third finger over. And as we go on. There's that little rundown. And again, this is all downstroke, so, and depends how you want to play it. You might want to stretch the third finger up there, but I'm not sure of the phrasing, but you know, there's a lot of technique in there in order to pick out these strings really clearly. And it's going to fly under your radar unless you play. Lots of cool stuff. Yeah, there's a little run up there. This isn't an instructional video, but it's the kind of solo that you could do a video on because there's so many cool elements in here. And listen to the way that he's picking it, because Willie Nelson just has, you know, he's quite aggressive with that, you know, there's a lot of attitude in there. Anyway, thank you guys for requesting this particular video for me to take a look at. And as always, keep those suggestions and requests coming in the comment section below. Let me know what you guys think. And if you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And I'll catch you guys at the next one. Rock!